My mother left me at a young age. I was only 3 months old. When she left, my Auntie Jessie stepped in and helped my father, Benny, care for me. Well, at least until my stepmom, Helen, came into the picture. Until I was 13, I believed that Helen was my mum.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamevarach, Baruch Adonai mevarach l'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
I remember the conversation on that very dinner table like it was yesterday. My father passed me an envelope. At first, I assumed it would be a card congratulating me on my bar mitzvah. To my surprise, all that was in the envelope was a photo of an unfamiliar woman. I recollect the chills that went down my spine when my father told me the truth. I could not even swallow what was in my mouth. My life had been turned upside down. I was so overwhelmed by what I had discovered, I needed to breathe. So that night, I left home with a single backpack. "4 days after I left home, I reached a conclusion. Helen, who raised me, was to be my mother, even though she didn't give birth to me. My curiosity peaked at the age of 19. So I approached my father and asked for his approval before I travelled to meet the woman who gave birth to me. He nodded, and that was that. As I walked onto the train, I could not help but look out the window to see my father waving farewell. As the train came to a sudden stop and the smoke from the engine passed over, I again looked out the window. There was a massive crowd of people, and all I had to go by was an old photo of Leonora. How was I supposed to recognize her? I then saw 2 figures standing there, a man and a woman, waiting. As I introduced myself, the woman welcomed me with open arms. This was Leonora. We talked for hours, catching up about each other's lives. It was very special, yet not a word was spoken about why she left. I suppose feelings were deeply suppressed on both sides, with neither myself nor Leonora having a roadmap to navigate the conversation. I had abundant thoughts rushing through my mind about what had just occurred. Like last time my father was waiting for me on the platform. All he asked was, "Did it go all right?" I nodded, and that was the last we spoke of it. After that visit, Leonora would call me every week. We would talk for hours about the events in our week, and when the time was up, Leonora would always say, "Okay, it's time to say goodbye." When it came to my 21st birthday, Leonora gave me a beautiful gift, golden cufflinks. I wore them as often as I could. I remember the first time I met the love of my life. She was kind, caring, beautiful, and taken. Well, at least for 6 more months. When Sandy accepted my proposal, I immediately phoned Leonora to share the great news. She was so excited for me. I thought that this was going to be the start of many more happy times together. Little did I know that Leonora was about to spring a surprise. She wanted to attend our wedding. I simply could not accept her request, as I regarded Helen as my mother, and it would be inappropriate for my biological mother to attend. After a long pause, Leonora said, "Okay, it's time to say goodbye." I had no idea that this was to be the last time we spoke for 47 years. 12 months passed with no contact whatsoever. Yet again, I felt deserted. In an act of rage, I melted the golden cufflinks and had a necklace made for Sandy. A particular visit to Los Angeles is the one I will never forget. We met some friends for lunch, and in conversation, my friend mentioned my birth mother's name. In my lifetime, not a single friend had ever spoken to me about Leonora. My friend's cousin had just met her in Israel, and Leonora wanted a second chance. After much debate, I picked up the phone and punched in her phone number. I didn't know what was going to happen, but as soon as I heard that voice, we connected instantly. After moments of silence and conversation spiraling back and forth, she finished by saying, "Okay, it's time to say goodbye." 3 months later, I was ready to go. On the plane, I couldn't sleep, even after taking a sleeping pill. All I could do was look out the window and think. A few hours later, I found myself outside Leonora's room and knocked on the door. There stood an elegant old lady, my mother. Sandy and I were in Israel for 3 weeks, and we saw my mother every single day. Not everyone is given a second chance, so we grabbed ours with open hearts.